People thought the mine collapsed because the mountain gave up. They were wrong. It wasn't the earth that betrayed those men. It was someone who shook their hands every morning. And the only reason the truth surfaced at all was because an old German shepherd refused to ignore what everyone else had learned to forget. Long before Logan Hart opened the door of that 50-cent mansion, his dog already knew the house wasn't waiting for a new owner. It was waiting for a witness. And when Gage barked that first time, he wasn't warning Logan to run. He was calling him to uncover a secret 60 years deep, one that would change an entire town and save a part of Logan he thought he'd lost forever. The gravel road to the old stone mansion didn't welcome visitors. It scraped beneath Logan Hart's boots like it wanted him to turn around. February wind cut through his jacket, sharp enough to sting bone, but he barely noticed. He'd felt colder in the desert. He'd felt colder in the weeks after discharge.
He didn't bark for danger.
What he noticed was the silence.
He barked for the truth that
The
still
mansion
needed a
sat
voice.
at the edge of a long-abandoned mining site, its pale stone walls rising like a relic no one wanted to claim.
Right?
50 cents. That was all it cost him. The county clerk had
Easy,
laughed
boy.
nervously when she handed him the
smell?
deed, as if she'd just passed off something she didn't
Folks say
want
the owner
responsibility
never left,
for.
even after he disappeared.
Gage hopped out of the truck behind him, landing with a soldier's precision. The German shepherd's posture was steady, disciplined, alert. He was older now,
Who the hell
muzzle
was
touched
that?
with grey, but war had carved instincts into him that age couldn't erase. Logan
Someone was
trusted
just
those
here.
instincts more than he trusted most people. That was why, the moment Gage froze, Logan felt his
There's someone
chest
coming and
tighten.
going in this house.
The dog stood perfectly still, one paw
What were
lifted,
they hiding?
ears pinned forward, eyes locked on the dark mouth of the stone porch. Not fear, not hesitation. Calculation. Logan whispered, "Come on, buddy."
Do not let them cover it
But
again.
Gage stepped back. That single backward step hit harder than any blast wave.
This wasn't a
Gage had
collapse.
walked into
Someone
burning
sealed it.
compounds, collapsed buildings, smoke thick enough to choke
Tunnel.
daylight.
It's right under us.
He did not retreat. Logan followed his stare. The front doors towered above them, oak faded to grey, iron handles dulled by decades.
What is it, boy?
Abandoned
What do you
property
hear?
never looked this intact. He forced himself up the steps,
I've been
the wood
investigating
groaning
the Southridge
under his
collapse
weight.
for 10 years.
The key turned too easily. The door opened without resistance. Inside, dust
They
floated
didn't
in
bury a
thin
collapse.
beams of light,
They buried the
drifting
truth.
like the house was breathing. Stillness pressed in from all sides. Not emptiness,
There's airflow.
stillness.
Someone kept that tunnel alive.
He glanced back at Gage, who paced beside the truck in tight, anxious circles.
You expecting company?
Logan whistled once, command tone. Gage obeyed, though every step towards the threshold looked reluctant, as if the dog were stepping
Someone
into
wants us
memory
out of this
rather
house.
than space. The moment Gage
tripwire.
crossed the doorway, the air
They know we are
changed.
here.
His nose twitched, his body stiffened. Then he moved ahead of Logan, scanning corners, sniffing baseboards, pausing every few feet
here
to look back as if asking, "Do you feel it now?"
Move.
Logan did. He couldn't name it yet, but he felt it.
Move.
A pressure behind the ribs, a presence in the walls. Something old, maybe sleeping. Maybe not. The living room revealed neat logs stacked beside a fireplace. Too neat for a house supposedly untouched for decades. The kitchen looked like a time capsule from the 70s, everything unplugged with care,
Gage?
not neglect. Even the
Buddy?
calendar still hung straight. Someone had lived here long after the county claimed
God,
otherwise.
what happened to you?
Gage froze again, this time near a hallway. His
saved
ears
us again.
flattened, his shoulders rose. He growled once, low and precise.
So damn
The kind of
sorry.
growl that meant he'd found something dangerous overseas.
We finished this. Together.
Logan followed the dog's stare to what looked like an ordinary stretch of plaster wall. No seams,
Once we go
no
in,
outlets.
there is no turning
But
back.
when Gage struck the baseboard with his paw, the echo came back hollow. Logan knelt, running his fingers along the molding. A thin patch of paint
This.
peeled away.
This proves everything.
A seam appeared. The dog
didn't help
pressed
them
his
bury the
nose
truth.
against it, whining
I
softly,
did it to keep
urging
my
him
family
on.
alive.
Logan stood, retrieved a crowbar from the truck, and wedged it into the panel. Plaster cracked,
They're trying to
Dust
bury it
drifted.
again.
Then, with a long groan, the wall gave way to reveal a hidden door. Behind it, stairs
They're not
leading
watching the
down.
article.
Cold
They're
air
watching
seeped
us.
up from the dark. He aimed his flashlight into the void. Filing cabinets, boxes, a desk, and hanging above it, a wool mining jacket with a stitched name on the collar. Daniel Rokes,
They've been waiting 60
years
to speak.
missing. Declared dead. Body never recovered. Logan swallowed. What the hell were you doing in here? Gage barked once sharply, spinning toward the stairwell
calling
as if
everything
warning
fabricated.
someone below away. Logan moved slowly into the hidden room,
course they are.
eyes sweeping across the organized shelves. Maps, mining documents,
What is it,
survey
buddy?
notes, and a large blueprint pinned to the wall. A layout
not
of
here
the
to
old
talk.
mine, a series of tunnels branching beneath the mansion. One tunnel circled in red. The same tunnel rumored to have collapsed in 1963. The same collapse
buddy.
that took 8 miners, including Daniel Rokes. Except this blueprint showed the collapse as intentional. Gage whined behind him,
the hell?
pacing, unsettled. Logan turned back toward the stairs. The front door upstairs
here?
slammed shut.
All this time?
Loud, violent, not wind,
We're
not
alone,
accident.
are we?
Gage's growl rumbled through the room, deeper than before, shaking from chest to floor.
Someone
Logan
wants us
killed
out.
the light and listened. Footsteps moved across the hardwood above them. Slow, deliberate. He whispered,
I'm sorry.
"We're not alone, are we?" Gage pressed against his leg in answer, muscles coiled, ready.
You found it.
In the dark
After
beneath
all
the
these
mansion,
years.
surrounded by evidence buried for 60 years, Logan felt something he hadn't felt since Fallujah. Not fear,
If I spoke
recognition.
back then,
Someone
would've
else
killed us
knew the
all.
truth was still here. Someone who didn't want it
he didn't
found.
bark for danger.
Logan told himself the
He barked for
footsteps
the
had
truth
been
that
nothing
still
more
needed a
than
voice.
settling beams and old timber adjusting to cold air. Old houses breathed. Old
just the wind,
houses
right?
groaned. That was all. Repeated the thought through the night like a mantra meant to
Easy,
quiet a
boy.
mind that had survived
smell?
too many battlefields. But Gage was not
Say the owner
convinced.
never left,
The dog
even after
barely
he
slept.
disappeared.
Every time Logan's eyes drifted shut, he woke to the soft click of claws repositioning on the floor. Gage moved in short, controlled arcs,
Who the hell was
circling the
that?
living room, pausing at the base of the staircase, staring toward the front door as if expecting it to shift again.
Someone was just here.
His ears flicked, catching sounds Logan either missed or refused to acknowledge.
There's someone
At
coming and
dawn,
going in this
Gage
house.
finally lay down, but not in rest.
What were they hiding?
His body stayed taut, nose pointed toward the hallway where the hidden door was concealed behind fresh plaster. Logan noticed the tension running along the dog's spine and felt a familiar
Don't let them
knot
cover it
coil in
again.
his own chest. He knelt beside him. It was just the wind,
This wasn't a collapse.
he
Someone
whispered,
sealed it.
touching Gage's neck. You hear things in these old
tunnel.
houses.
It's right under us.
Gage didn't even blink. It was the same look he had given Logan in Fallujah minutes before a rocket hit the wall behind them. A look that said,
What is it, boy?
"You are lying to
What do you
yourself."
hear?
Logan stood and made coffee in the dim kitchen, the
I've been
bitter scent
investigating the
grounding
Southridge
him.
collapse for 10
He watched
years.
Gage track invisible movement across the ceiling with his eyes. That was when Logan understood that the
They
dog
didn't bury a
wasn't
collapse.
reacting to
They
ghosts
buried
or
the truth.
memories. He was mapping, reading the house the way he once read smoke plumes on the horizon,
There's airflow.
the way he read
Someone
shifting
kept that
sand
tunnel
under a
alive.
buried tripwire. By mid-morning, Logan forced himself to stay
You
busy.
expecting company?
He took measurements of the living room, checked the electrical panel, tested the faucets. Anything to distract from the silence that pressed close around them.
Someone wants us out of this house.
But every time he glanced over, Gage was watching a
tripwire.
window or listening towards the
they know we are
porch.
here.
Not fear, not paranoia. A working dog returning to duty. Logan tried to shake it off. Maybe animals sensed
here
the age of a place. Maybe they scented old dust or trapped air in walls. But when he opened the back door to get firewood, Gage lunged forward, blocking the exit with his body, muscles locked, tail stiff. Logan froze. "Easy, boy, it's just outside." Gage didn't move. His nose lifted, sampling air that brought no scent to Logan's human senses. Then he growled, deep and quiet, and took a step
Gage?
onto the porch. Logan
Buddy?
followed, scanning the cold yard. Grass bent low under frost. Trees stood
God,
motionless.
what happened to you?
No footprints, no broken branches, nothing.
You saved us
But Gage
again.
kept his body angled toward the direction of the old mine, as if waiting for something to surface. The dog didn't relax until they both
finished
went
this.
back inside.
Together.
That was when Logan knew something was wrong. He tried to ignore it, pulling on a jacket and
Once we
grabbing
go in,
car keys.
There is no turning back.
Supply run, he muttered. Maybe town noise will clear both our heads. Gage jumped into the truck reluctantly, as if he didn't trust the house enough to
proves
leave it
everything.
unattended. At the town market,
help
the
them bury the
fluorescent
truth.
lights buzzed overhead,
I did it
and
to keep
people
my
glanced
family
up at
alive.
Logan with polite curiosity. Briar Hollow wasn't big. Outsiders drew attention. Outsiders
trying
with
to
a
bury
war
it
dog
again.
drew more. The cashier, an older man with a faded veteran's cap, scanned the items without small talk.
They're not watching the
When he looked at
article.
Gage,
They're watching
his
us.
expression tightened a notch. "You the one who bought the stone place?" he asked. Logan nodded. The man scratched the counter with a thumbnail. Thought they were going to tear it down years ago. Shame they
They've
never
been
did.
waiting 60 years to speak.
Logan hesitated. Why is that? The man shrugged, eyes shifting. Folks used to say the owner never left, always came back, even after they said he disappeared.
They're calling everything fabricated.
Logan felt a chill thread down his spine. He forced a
Of
casual
course they
tone.
are.
The record said the house was abandoned. The man huffed a quiet laugh.
What is it, buddy?
Paper says what people need it to say. Houses tell the real story.
They're not here to talk.
Before Logan could press further, a woman stacking canned goods nearby spoke without looking up. Nobody stays long in that place. Not unless they want company they didn't invite. Logan felt the atmosphere shift. Conversations stalled. Eyes avoided his. Outside, he opened the truck door. Gage didn't jump in. The dog stood rigid, staring across the street at an alleyway between two buildings. His nose twitched repeatedly. Then he let out one sharp bark. Logan followed his line of sight. Someone stood barely visible in the shadow, a figure wearing a dark coat, watching. When Logan blinked, the figure stepped back and vanished behind the building. He started toward the alley, but Gage growled and blocked him with his body, refusing to let him take another step. All right, Logan murmured. We go back. On the drive home, Gage stayed upright in the passenger seat, scanning the tree line the way he once scanned abandoned roads in Ramadi. It was more than vigilance, it was recognition. As they approached the mansion, Logan noticed something he swore hadn't been there earlier. The front porch light fixture, rusted and dead, now hung at a slightly different angle. Not much, barely a fraction. But when he reached up and touched it, the metal was warm. Someone had been at the door recently. Very recently. Inside, Logan set the groceries down and stopped cold. Boot prints. Faint, but visible in the dust by the base of the stairs. Not his. Not from the day before. He knelt, examining them. The pattern was shallow, as if the person had walked lightly or tried not to be noticed. But one thing was clear. Whoever it was had gone upstairs. Gage lowered his nose to the prints, sniffed once, then looked at the staircase with unmistakable certainty. A soft growl vibrated through the floorboards. Logan whispered, "There's someone coming and going in this house." Gage took a step toward the stairs. Not eager, not reckless, ready. Logan felt an old part of himself come awake, the part that understood when battle lines were shifting. The house wasn't abandoned. It had never been abandoned. Someone was still treating it like their own. Someone who moved quietly enough to fool most people, but not a dog trained to sense danger before it had a name, and not a man who had survived war by trusting that dog with his life. The house had stopped pretending to be quiet. Every hour brought a new sound, a new shift, a faint disturbance that traced itself along the baseboards like a whisper traveling through bone. Logan tried to move with purpose, repairing loose hinges and clearing debris, but his mind kept returning to the footprints on the stairs and the warm light fixture on the porch. Someone was circling them, maybe entering, maybe watching. Gage felt it more sharply than he did. The shepherd tracked the hallways with the precision of a search dog advancing through a collapsed building. Every few minutes he paused, nose twitching, head tilting slightly, as if listening to something behind the walls. By late afternoon, Logan had convinced himself to check the second floor. Just a quick walk through, he muttered. Just enough to prove we're imagining half of this. But before he reached the first step, Gage moved past him and trotted down the back hallway, the one with peeling wallpaper and uneven floorboards. He stopped at the far end, ears rigid, tail still. What now, partner? Gage pressed his nose to a section of wall that looked identical to every other panel in the hallway, but the dog began to scratch slowly, methodically. Not frantic, not confused, working. Logan crouched beside him and felt along the wall. The wallpaper was smoother here, newer somehow. He tapped lightly. Hollow. Logan felt a jolt of adrenaline climb his spine. The hidden room in the foyer had been carefully built. Whoever designed this house had a habit of leaving escape routes, storage chambers, or hiding spots scattered like buried memories. He slid his multi-tool beneath the wallpaper, peeled back a strip, and uncovered a small recessed seam. A narrow latch hid just beneath the molding. Logan pressed it, expecting resistance, but the panel opened with a soft gasp of released air. Behind it, a small cavity sat carved into the wall. Dust coated the edges, untouched for decades. In the center was a wooden box no larger than a loaf of bread. Its lid bore a name carved by hand, rough and uneven. Thomas Rokes, the son of Daniel Rokes, the boy who had vanished 70 miles from town 2 weeks after the mine collapse. Rumor had it he ran away to escape grief, but no one had ever found him. No body, no trace. But the box remained. Logan carried it into the living room and set it on the table. Gage sat beside him, watching not the box, but the windows behind them, as if expecting the world to change the moment the lid opened. Logan unlatched the hinges. Inside lay several folded letters bound with a deteriorated string, a rusted compass, and a torn scrap of map paper. He picked up the top letter, the paper brittle under his fingers. The handwriting was shaky but determined. I know what my father saw. They made him seal it and told him to keep quiet. He tried to warn the others. That is, why they died. If this is found, it was not an accident. Do not let them bury it again. Bury. Not metaphorical.
You were down here?
Literal. The map scrap beneath it showed the mine site, a large circle drawn around a tunnel branch. Across the top, written in the same trembling hand, do not let them cover it again. Logan stared at the words until they blurred. The sense of wrongness he felt when he first stepped into the house snapped into place. Families hadn't disappeared by chance. Stories hadn't faded because people forgot.
You found it.
Someone erased them. His mind flashed to the warm fixture on the porch, the footsteps overhead, the missing jacket from the first hidden room. Someone was erasing still. Gage nudged his arm, then walked toward the back door without looking back. He wanted Logan to follow. It wasn't a suggestion.
He barked for the
Outside,
truth that
the
still needed
wind
a
carried
voice.
the smell of pine and old stone. Gage moved with purpose, nose low, ears flicking.
Just the wind, right?
Logan fell in step behind him. The dog led him past the clearing behind the mansion, toward the tree line, paws silent on the frost-bitten ground. At the edge of the woods, Gage stopped. He barked once, short and sharp, then began scraping aggressively at the soil. Logan knelt beside him. The ground here wasn't natural. A faint line of disturbed earth stretched along the ridge, covered by decades of leaf litter. Logan brushed aside debris.
Someone
Beneath
was
it,
just here.
old boards lay buried, rotting and splintered. Support beams, reinforced
Someone coming
timbers,
and going in
a
this
sealed
house.
tunnel entrance, and not sealed by nature.
What were they hiding here?
The boards were cut clean, edges aligned by human hands. Someone had intentionally closed the mine shaft long after the official collapse. A large metal plate had once covered the
not
opening,
let them cover it
but only
again.
the bolts remained, rusted in place. Logan whispered,
This wasn't a
"Someone did
collapse.
this to
Someone
hide it."
sealed it.
Gage kept digging, paws tearing through the
Tunnel.
topsoil until he
It's right
hit
under
something
us.
harder than wood. Logan pushed the dog gently aside and cleared the dirt with his hands. A metal sign emerged, rusted but legible enough to read a
What
few
is it,
letters.
boy?
South
hear?
Ridge Access Shaft. Restricted. Restricted meant monitored.
I've been investigating the South Ridge
maintained.
collapse for 10
Meant
years.
covered. He sat back on his heels, breath unsteady. This was no forgotten
They
mine.
didn't bury
This was a
collapse.
burial site
They
for
buried
truth.
the truth.
And someone had gone to great lengths to make sure it stayed that way. A twig snapped in the forest
There's
behind
airflow.
them.
Someone kept that
Logan
tunnel
turned
alive.
quickly, scanning the trees. Shadows stretched long across the ground.
You
Nothing
expecting
moved.
company?
No wind, no animals, no footsteps. But Gage growled, low and steady, staring into the darkness.
Someone wants us out of this
Logan
house.
felt the pressure of unseen eyes watching them
tripwire.
from the depth of the
They
woods.
know we are here.
"We are not supposed to find this," he murmured. Gage shifted closer to him, muscles ready, as if preparing to shield him from whatever stepped
here
out
before.
next. But nothing came. Nothing spoke.
Move.
Nothing revealed itself, only silence.
Move.
Heavy. Waiting. Logan lifted the map scrap again, tracing the words with his thumb. Do not let them cover it again.
I can't do this
Someone had
anymore.
tried once. Someone might try again. He looked down at Gage. The dog's amber eyes were locked on his, unwavering.
Gage?
It wasn't fear in them. It was
Buddy?
insistence. They had found the first truth. Now they had to decide whether to keep
God,
digging.
what happened to you?
The scrap of map from Thomas Rokes's box lay spread across the kitchen table, its edges crumbling under Logan's fingers. He smoothed it gently, tracing the faded ink lines drawn
finish
decades
this
before he was born.
Together.
8 tunnels branched from the old South Ridge mine, but only one was circled.
Once we go in,
The same tunnel
there is no
marked on the
turning back.
blueprint they found in the hidden room underground. When he overlaid the scrap onto a county survey he'd pulled from the basement files, the lines matched with unsettling precision.
This proves everything.
The circled tunnel ran directly
didn't
beneath
help
the
them bury
ridge,
the truth.
curved near the tree
did
line,
it to keep my
and
family
ended under the
alive.
western corner of the house. Logan stared at the final mark. The tunnel didn't just pass close to the house.
Trying to bury it again.
It touched it. He sat back, breath tight. They hadn't bought a house built near a mine.
They're not watching the
They'd
article.
bought a house
They're
built on
watching
top
us.
of one. Gage paced slowly near the doorway, glancing between Logan and the hall. Every
father
time
tried.
Logan
We
stood
all
as if
should
to
have
step
listened.
outside, Gage moved, blocking him with his body, standing
waiting
square in
60
front
years
of the
to
door
speak.
with the rigid stillness of a soldier guarding a breached perimeter. Logan tried to sidestep him. The shepherd mirrored him instantly. "All right, I get it," Logan
Calling everything
murmured.
fabricated.
"You think there's something out there." Gage didn't blink.
Of course they
His
are.
posture said enough. It was the same stance he took years ago when a convoy paused at a fork
What
in
is
the
it,
road,
buddy?
and the air smelled wrong. Minutes later, they discovered an IED
They're not here to
buried
talk.
under loose gravel. Gage had sensed it long before any human did. Now he sensed something under the ground and around them, something unseen, but
Come
near.
on, buddy.
Logan turned back to the map. Why would a house be built over a collapsed shaft? Unless the collapse wasn't the end of it. Unless it was a cover. A car door slammed outside.
You were down here?
Gage barked once,
All this
low
time?
and sharp, and positioned himself
We're not
between
alone, are
Logan
we?
and the windows. Logan moved carefully to the front of the house and peeked through the curtain. A
Someone
woman
wants
stood
us
at the
out.
edge of the porch, hands tucked into a faded green jacket, her eyes scanning the property with the sharpened curiosity of
I'm sorry.
someone who'd been piecing together puzzles long before she arrived. She knocked lightly. Gage's
found
growl
her
deepened,
after all
but his
these
tail
years.
stayed neutral. He didn't sense threat, only intrusion. Logan opened the door halfway. The wind slipped between them,
I spoke
carrying
back
the
then,
scent of pine,
they would have killed
dust,
us
and
all.
ink from the old mine. You Logan Hart?
He didn't bark
She
for
asked.
danger.
Depends,
He
Logan
barked for the
replied.
truth that still needed
I'm
a
Elise
voice.
Monroe. I heard you bought this place. Her voice was calm, but her gaze flicked to Gage with a healthy
Just the
respect.
wind, right?
Mind if I come in? Logan hesitated. People didn't
Easy,
show up at
boy.
remote stone mansions on a
smell?
weekday afternoon unless they wanted something.
Folks say the owner
Elise
never left,
studied his face.
even after he disappeared.
I'm a journalist, independent. I've been investigating the South Ridge collapse for 10 years. 8 miners died. Except no one ever proved the collapse killed them.
Who the hell was
And the
that?
county sealed the records faster than any agency had time to question it. Logan stepped aside.
Someone was just
Come
here.
in. She entered with careful steps. Gage trotted behind her, nose reading
someone
every
coming and going
layer
in
of
this
scent
house.
on her clothing, the bag on her shoulder, the notepad
What were they
tucked
hiding
inside.
here?
When he moved to her side and sat, Logan knew the verdict. She wasn't a threat, at least not to them. Elisa's eyes widened when she saw the map spread across the table.
Again.
You found something. We found a lot, Logan said
This wasn't
quietly.
a collapse.
He
Someone
handed her
sealed it.
Thomas Rokes's letter. She read the words, her face tightening.
Tunnel. It's right
I knew
under
it.
us.
I knew there was more buried than a tunnel. They didn't just cover evidence, they covered people. She pulled out her own folder and placed it
What is
beside
it, boy?
his.
What do you
Logan
hear?
saw photos clipped to documents, handwritten notes, copies of old interviews,
investigating
records
the
of
South
missing
Ridge collapse
complaints
for 10
filed then
years.
withdrawn. You've been doing this for a while, he said. Too long, she answered.
They didn't
And
bury
every
a
time I get
collapse.
close,
They
someone
buried
shuts
the
it down.
truth.
Not legally. Quietly, files vanish, people recant, leads dry up. But
There's
this,
airflow.
she
Someone
tapped
kept
the
that tunnel
box and the
alive.
map. This is real. This is proof. Before Logan could
You
respond,
expecting company?
Gage stood suddenly and walked toward the back window. His ears angled forward, tail lifted slightly. He let out a single huff, a
Someone wants
soft
us out of this
warning.
house.
Elise froze.
A tripwire.
Is something out there?
They know we are here.
Logan joined the dog at the window. The backyard looked still. The tree line stood motionless. No animals, no wind, no movement. But Gage wasn't looking
Been here
outward.
before.
His gaze tracked downward, toward the ground beneath the foundation. He's sensing the tunnel,
Move.
Logan whispered. Or something in it. Elise stared at the floorboards as if hearing them breathe. The mine ran directly under this house. If someone wanted to hide evidence, this would be the perfect storage site. Out of sight. Off records. Accessible only to the right people. Logan rubbed his
Gage?
jaw. You think whoever sealed
Buddy?
that shaft may still be using part of it. Elise stepped closer to the map.
Oh God!
If the
what
tunnel
happened to
is
you?
intact under the house, there might be another access point.
You saved us again.
A smaller one. Something not on any official survey.
I'm so damn sorry.
Gage let out a sudden growl, short but urgent,
We finished
and
this.
trotted into the hallway.
Together.
Logan and Elise followed. The dog stopped near the closet wall where they found the first hidden
Once we
door.
go in,
Then
there
he
is no
looked
turning
past it,
back.
toward the stairwell, and then to the floor. He's triangulating, Elise murmured in awe, as if he knows the tunnel's layout.
This proves everything.
He does, Logan
I
said.
didn't help them bury
He's
the
done
truth.
this in collapsed structures.
it to keep my
When he hears
family
shifts
alive.
or air pressure changes, he reads the angles. Gage touched his nose to a spot on the floorboards, then stepped back,
They're trying to bury
watching
it again.
Logan expectantly. Logan knelt. The boards here felt different, cooler.
They're not
When he
watching
pressed
the
his ear
article.
to the wood,
They're
he
watching
heard
us.
faint airflow, movement beneath the house, a hidden ventilation shaft, Elise whispered. Still working after 60 years. Something or someone kept it open.
They've been waiting 60
Before
years
Logan
to
could
speak.
lift the board, Gage's ears shot straight up. A car engine revved outside, then cut abruptly. Doors shutting. 2, maybe 3. Elise looked at the
They're
window.
calling everything
You
fabricated.
expecting company? No, Logan answered.
Of course they
Gage
are.
made a low sound, One he only made in Iraq when danger was close, but not yet visible.
What is it, buddy?
Logan stood. Elise clasped her notebook tighter.
They're not here to
Outside,
talk.
footsteps crunched across gravel, slow and deliberate. Someone knew Elise came here. Someone knew the house still held secrets. And they were done waiting. The sun had barely set when the first warning revealed itself. Logan was in the living room sorting through Elise's stack of copied records while she photographed the map fragment under brighter light. Gage patrolled the perimeter as he always did, circling windows, checking door frames, pausing at shadows as if listening to vibrations in the walls. The power snapped off without a flicker of hesitation. 1 second the house hummed with electricity, and the next it fell into thick, consuming dark. Elise cursed softly. That wasn't the breaker. No, Logan said. Someone cut it. Before he could reach for the flashlight, Gage growled, a deep pulse of sound that rumbled through the floorboards. Logan clicked the light on just as the dog rushed toward the kitchen. Gage slid to a stop by the stove, nose driving hard toward the back panel. Logan smelled it instantly. Gas. Sharp. Chemical. Heavy. He lunged to the shutoff valve beneath the counter and twisted until the hissing ceased. Elise stepped back, hand pressed over her mouth. That could have killed us, she whispered. Logan steadied his breath. No, but it could have driven us out. Someone wants us to panic. Gage remained locked in position at the door, body leaning forward, every muscle coiled. Logan followed his line of sight and saw the faintest glint at the base of the frame. A fishing line stretched tight across the threshold, almost invisible. A classic trip line, tied to a metal canister rigged with a nail and striker, a noise trap, designed to send someone running to check the door, or to make them reveal themselves. Gage nudged Logan back before he could touch it. Smart boy, Logan murmured. You saw it before I did. He cut the line carefully and disarmed the rig. The device wasn't lethal. It was a test. Someone was checking whether the house was occupied. Someone who didn't want to be seen. Elise exhaled shakily. This isn't random. Whoever did this knows exactly what they're doing. Logan nodded. And they know this house. Probably better than we do. The three of them returned to the living room, using lanterns now. The air felt different. Charged. The house no longer felt abandoned. It felt surveilled. Elise spread documents across the table, her fingers trembling slightly. She tapped one page showing signatures from the mining company that operated South Ridge in the 60s. Here's the twist, she said. The mining rights didn't vanish with the collapse. They were bought by a larger conglomerate that still owns land all around this town. They fund public projects, local elections, even the sheriff's office. Logan stared at the document. They bought the land after 8 men died. Elise nodded, and every attempt to investigate the collapse ended in the same place. With them. This company has enough money to bury anything it wants. Logan braced his elbows on the table. So you think they sealed the tunnel, erased the workers' files, and hid evidence inside this house? No, she said. I think they used this house. Gage lifted his head sharply. Something outside shifted. A footstep. A creak on the porch that didn't belong to wind or settling boards. Logan killed the lantern. The three of them froze. Another faint sound. Metal scraping lightly against wood. Someone at the front door, testing it, feeling for vibrations, trying to determine where inside the house they were. Gage's breathing slowed, controlled, nostrils flaring as he caught scent through the cracks of old timber. His tail went still, his paws planted firm. He leaned forward like a coiled arrow aimed at the danger. Then the porch fell silent. Elise whispered, "Do you think they know we're onto something? They know we found something?" Logan said, and they want it back. The silence stretched for a long moment before breaking with a sharp buzz. The door frame rattled. Something metallic slid into the lock. Not a key, a tool. Whoever was outside wasn't breaking in violently. They were trying not to leave marks. Logan pointed toward the rear hallway. "Move," he mouthed. Gage led them, moving soundlessly on padded feet. He paused at the corner, listening. The doorknob at the front of the house clicked once, twice, then turned. Someone was inside. Elise's breath caught. Logan steadied her shoulder before she could make a sound. Gage inched forward, nose lifted, reading scent particles off the air. Then he stiffened. Logan read the signal instantly. He knows the smell. A figure moved down the hallway toward the living room, flashlight beams slicing through the dark. Boots stepped where Logan had walked earlier. Slow, confident. "This isn't a thief," Elise whispered. "He knows where everything is." Logan's voice was barely audible. "He's been here before." Gage growled. Not loud, not even threatening. A sound tempered by instinct and training. A warning to the intruder that the house no longer belonged to him. The intruder froze, turned slowly. The flashlight beam swept the hallway and landed briefly on Gage's eyes before the man jerked the light away, startled. The dog stepped forward, silent but unyielding. The intruder bolted for the door. Logan sprinted after him, but by the time he reached the porch, the dark coat disappeared into the tree line. Footsteps swallowed by the forest. No car engine, no lights. He was moving on foot. He knew the land. Logan returned inside, heart pounding. Elise pointed towards the front door. "Look." Screwed into the interior side of the lock was a tiny metal hook, a tool made to pull something from between the frame. Something small, something hidden. "They weren't breaking in," she said. "They were checking if we found one of their old access points." Logan took a long breath as realization settled like cold stone in his chest. This wasn't a drifter. This wasn't a local kid. This was someone tied to the mine.
What do you smell?
Someone who knew the tunnels, the hidden rooms, the vents, the history. Someone still guarding a secret 60 years old. Elise looked at the documents spread across the table. If the company covered up a collapse that killed 8 men,
Who the hell was
they
that?
didn't do it alone. They had help. Locals, officials, maybe someone still
Someone was
alive
just
who would do
here.
anything to keep that truth buried. Logan looked at Gage, whose steady stare remained
someone coming and
locked
going
on
in
the
this
doorway,
house.
his body refusing to relax.
What were they
"We
hiding
aren't
here?
dealing with a ghost story," Logan said. "We're dealing with someone who never left the mine behind, and someone who wasn't done protecting it." By the 4th night, exhaustion
cover
clung
it
to the
again.
house like a second skin. Every creak sounded deliberate. Every
wasn't a
shadow
collapse.
moved
Someone
wrong,
sealed it.
and every breath felt tight in Logan's
The
chest.
tunnel. It's
He
right
couldn't
under us.
remember the last time he slept longer than an hour. Elise kept combing through records, highlighting connections that painted the mining company into something far uglier
boy?
than negligence.
What do you hear?
And Gage stood guard, always between them and the dark.
I've been investigating
But
the
pressure
South
was
Ridge
starting
collapse
to
for
splinter
10
the
years.
edges. Logan stared at the map spread across the table. His father's handwriting circled the
They didn't
mine
bury a
tunnels,
collapse.
marking something
They buried
Logan
the
couldn't
truth.
decipher. Miles Hart had tried to expose corruption and ended up at the bottom of a river.
There's airflow.
A
Someone
car
kept that
accident.
tunnel alive.
They'd called it. Logan knew better now. This house wasn't the only thing
expecting
buried in
company?
Briar Hollow. He rubbed his eyes hard. This isn't my fight. This isn't my war. Elise didn't look
Someone
up.
wants us out of this house.
It became your fight the moment they broke into your home.
Tripwire.
He snapped,
They know we
voice
are
sharper
here.
than he intended. "You don't get it. My father tried to do the right thing, and they killed him for it. I'm not dying in the same hole he did."
He's been here
Elise
before.
held his stare. "Nobody's asking you to die, but you can't run anymore. Not from this. Not from yourself." Her words cut too close. He turned away, guilt and anger mixing with a deeper fear he refused to name. Then Gage stepped between him and the door. Logan's voice cracked. Move. The German Shepherd didn't move. Not an inch. His stance was firm, ears forward, chest lifted. He wasn't blocking the door out of disobedience. He was warning Logan, the same way he had in Iraq when a sniper waited across a ridge. The same way he had outside a building wired with explosives.
Saved us again.
Logan's frustration broke wide open. Not here, not again.
Damn sorry.
Move. Gage didn't
We
flinch.
finished this.
The anger roared
Together.
outward, raw and misplaced. Fine. Stay in the damn doorway.
Once we go
I
in,
can't do this
there is
anymore.
no turning back.
He shoved past Gage, pushing the dog out onto the porch and slamming the door. Elise stood, stunned. What the hell was that?
This.
Logan
This proves
paced,
everything.
breath ragged. I just need
didn't help them
space.
bury the
I don't
truth.
need him watching every step
Did it
I
to keep my
take.
family alive.
Elise's voice softened. He's not watching you. He's protecting you. Logan didn't answer. Couldn't.
They're trying to bury it
Instead,
again.
he sank onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. He felt Elise linger, wanting to say something, but she
They're not
retreated to her
watching the
notes.
article. They're watching
Silence
us.
swallowed the room. Hours crawled by. Wind scraped across the siding. The house groaned. Logan sat alone in the dim lantern glow, regret settling heavy
They've
in
been
his
waiting
gut.
60 years
He
to
pictured
speak.
Gage outside, curled against the cold stone wall, waiting for forgiveness that Logan hadn't earned. He finally rose and cracked the door open. The porch was empty.
They're calling
Logan
everything
stepped out,
fabricated.
heart hammering. Gage? Buddy? No answer.
course they
He
are.
scanned the yard. Snow dust had gathered across the gravel. Tracks trailed towards
it,
the tree
buddy?
line. Paw prints, several sets. One set heavy,
not here to
human.
talk.
Fear snapped him fully awake. He grabbed a light and jogged across the yard, following the trail. It led to the broken fence line, then curved toward the old mine
buddy.
road. Halfway down, he saw a dark shape limping toward him. Gage. The shepherd appeared out of the shadows,
What the hell?
body low, one side streaked with dirt. A scrape along his flank bled lightly,
down here?
and his breathing was fast,
All this
shallow,
time?
but his eyes were clear,
We're not alone,
fierce.
are we?
Logan dropped to his knees. Oh, God. What happened to you? Gage stepped
Someone wants
forward
us
and
out.
pressed his head into Logan's chest, leaning heavily. Logan wrapped his arms around the dog's neck, holding him like a lifeline. He
sorry.
understood instantly. Gage hadn't wandered. He had chased someone off. He had intercepted whatever threat
found him,
tried creeping
after all
towards the
these
house.
years.
Gage had taken the hit meant for them. Logan's voice broke. I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry. I never should have pushed you out. The shepherd blinked, slow and steady, forgiving him without hesitation.
He didn't bark.
Elise
for danger.
approached, breath
He
catching
barked
when
for
she saw
truth
the
that still
injury.
needed a voice.
We need to bring him inside. Back in the house, Logan cleaned the wound carefully. It wasn't deep,
It's just the wind, right?
more like a glancing blow from a metal rod or a boot spike. Whoever had been stalking the
Easy,
property
boy.
hadn't expected a dog
What do
to
you
attack
smell?
with such precision. Gage lay on
Folks
the
say the
blanket,
owner never left,
eyes half closed
after
but
he
ears
disappeared.
still twitching at every sound. Even hurt, he refused to relax. Logan sat beside him, hand resting on the dog's shoulder.
Who
He
the hell
whispered,
was that?
You saved us again. Why didn't you just stay on the porch like I told you? But he knew the
Someone was
answer.
just here.
Gage never stayed behind. Not in Fallujah. Not in Ramadi.
There's
Not
someone coming
now.
and going in this house.
Elise sat opposite them, her expression
What were
gentler
they
than
hiding
before.
here?
Logan, you need to hear this. You're not repeating your father's story. Logan shook his head, but she continued. Your dad filed the first complaint.
Don't let them cover it
The
again.
mining company buried it. But he wasn't reckless. He was meticulous.
This wasn't a
Everything he
collapse.
did, he
Someone sealed it.
documented. He believed someone would finish what he started.
The tunnel.
Maybe he hoped
It's
it
right
would be
under
you.
us.
Logan looked at Gage, at the dog who had refused to leave his side even when he'd been pushed away, at the loyalty that had outlasted war, silence,
What is it, boy?
and fear.
What do you hear?
He spoke quietly. If we turn back now, he got hurt for
I've been
nothing.
investigating the South Ridge
Elise
collapse
nodded
for
once.
10 years.
Then we don't turn back. Logan took a long breath. Something inside him clicked
They
into
didn't
place.
bury a collapse.
A decision,
They
steady
buried the truth.
and final. We're going into the mine. Tonight. Gage lifted his
There's
head
airflow.
despite the pain,
Someone kept that
tail
tunnel
thumping
alive.
once against the floor, as if he'd been waiting for those exact words.
You expecting
Logan
company?
squeezed the thick fur along his neck. You're right, buddy. We finished this. Together. Outside, the wind shifted, carrying the
Someone
scent of
wants us out of
damp
this
earth
house.
and iron. Deep beneath their feet,
tripwire.
the hidden tunnel waited,
They know we are
sealed
here.
for 60 years. Logan stood. Elise gathered her equipment, and Gage, injured but unbroken, rose to his feet and walked towards the door. The mine had taken 8 men and buried a truth the town never dared to speak. Tonight, the 3 of them would unearth it. The entrance to the old mine wasn't a doorway. It was a wound carved into the hillside, buried beneath decades of soil, rusted metal, and silence. Logan pushed aside the last of the brush, while Elise held the lantern high. Gage stood beside them, injured but alert, nose sweeping the cold air, as if reading a language only he could understand. The map fragment had been crude, drawn in pencil by a trembling hand. But it had been enough. Beneath the mansion,
saved us
beneath the
again.
forest, beneath 60 years of fear, the tunnel waited.
So damn sorry.
Logan exhaled. Once we go in, we might not
finish
get
this.
another shot at this.
Together.
Gage stepped forward first. The mine swallowed them quickly. The air grew colder,
Once we go in,
thick with
there is
minerals
no
and
turning
old
back.
dust. Their boots crunched over gravel untouched since the Kennedy administration. Lantern light bounced off jagged walls and rusted beam
This
supports that
proves
moaned
everything.
under their own age.
I didn't help them bury the
Elise
truth.
whispered,
I did
"This
it to keep my
place
family
shouldn't even
alive.
still be standing." Logan agreed, which meant someone had been reinforcing parts of it.
They're trying
Maybe
to bury it
recently.
again.
They followed the tunnel deeper until the map's markings aligned with a narrow, branching shaft. Gage moved ahead,
not watching the
tail
article.
stiff,
They're watching
every
us.
step precise. Something in the air shifted. Logan felt it too, a pulsing quiet,
Your
as if
father
history
tried.
itself
We all
was
should have
holding its
listened.
breath. Then Gage froze. He lowered into a crouch,
been waiting 60
nose
years
pressed
to
to a
speak.
patch of dark stone. A faint gap cut across the wall, a seam almost invisible beneath decades of rock dust. Logan brushed it with his hand. There's
Calling
something
everything
behind
fabricated.
this. Gage pawed once, then stepped back.
Of course
Logan
they are.
and Elise pushed their shoulders against the slab. The stone shifted, grudgingly, and then
is it,
swung
buddy?
inward with a grating groan. Behind it lay a small chamber,
not here to
no
talk.
bigger than a closet, carved by hand and sealed in fear. In the center sat a metal lockbox, edges
look.
rusted, lid welded shut. A name was scratched across the top. McCready, one of the missing miners. Elise traced the letters. He hid it here, away from the supervisors, away from the company. Logan pried the lid open with his knife. Inside sat a stack of hard-bound records wrapped in oilcloth, a leather-bound journal, and several pages of blueprints so aged they nearly crumbled when touched. He lifted the top record. Mining Incident Report, 1963. Unedited. Elise's voice trembled. Oh my God. There were documents with original signatures, not the altered ones held by the county. There were lists of safety violations ignored, pressure readings redacted in public reports. And attached to one folder was a typed list. 8 names. The 8 men the town had carefully forgotten. Logan felt a chill crawl beneath his shirt. These files were meant to disappear with them. Elise opened a blueprint. This is a ventilation schematic. Look here. Someone sealed this airflow tunnel on purpose. That's why the collapse was instant. They suffocated before the blasting even finished. Logan frowned. Blasting? Elise hesitated, then opened the miner's journal. The first page made Logan's stomach drop. Collapse was not an accident. New contractor set charges to speed production. Explosion too strong. They sealed us in after. She flipped further, her hands shaking. They knew we were alive. They walked away. Logan stared at the pages, at the pencil marks made by a man who believed he wouldn't live long enough to be found. A man who hid the truth in stone, praying someone someday would uncover it. And they did, 60 years later. Suddenly, Gage growled. Not a warning growl, a recognition growl. Logan raised the lantern. A figure stood in the tunnel mouth, blocking their exit. An older man in heavy work clothes, face lined with coal dust embedded so deep it looked permanent. His hair was white, but his posture was steady, and in his hand hung an old miner's pick. He didn't raise it. He didn't need to. Elise whispered, "That's him. Henry Cole, the 9th miner. The one they said left town in '64. But Henry Cole didn't leave. He took one step forward. The shadows carved his face into something ancient. You shouldn't have opened that box." He rasped. His voice shook with something between warning and grief. Logan shifted his stance subtly, positioning himself between the man and Elise. Gage stood ahead of both of them, barking once, sharp, commanding. The man's eyes softened at the dog. He lowered the pick. "I'm not here to hurt you. If I wanted to, this mine has plenty of places to bury 3 more souls." Elise swallowed. "Then why are you here?" Henry Cole leaned heavily against the wall, suddenly looking tired. Old. Haunted. "Because I was supposed to seal this place again tonight. Make sure nobody ever saw those files." Logan's jaw tightened. "You covered it up. You helped them kill 8 men." Cole's face twisted painfully. "No, I helped my family survive." His voice cracked. "I was the only one who crawled out. I heard them screaming behind the rocks. I heard the company bosses decide it was cheaper to bury the mistake than rescue them. I ran home to warn people, and they were waiting." Elise's voice softened. "The company?" Cole nodded. "They told me if I talked, if I breathed a word, my wife and son would vanish, same as those men. So I shut my mouth, took their money, lived like a ghost." Logan didn't lower his guard. "You've been watching the house, following us? Why?" "Because when you bought that mansion, I knew the truth was waking again. And once the truth wakes, someone dies." Gage barked sharply at that, stepping closer to Cole, not in aggression, but in caution, reading him, judging him. Cole looked down at the dog with something like shame. "I'm not your enemy, not anymore, but the men who run this company, they won't let this get out. They won't let the past breathe." Logan tightened his grip on the lantern handle. "Then why are you here now?" Cole looked at the lockbox, at the journal, at the evidence he had sworn to bury. "Because I'm tired of being a coward." He lifted a trembling hand. "And because if you're going to fight them, you need someone who knows where the bodies are buried. Literally." Elise exchanged a stunned glance with Logan. Cole turned toward the tunnel's deeper shadows. "Come with me. There's something else you need to see. Something no one has set eyes on since the day the mountain swallowed those men." Gage stepped forward first, trusting his instincts. Then Logan and Elise followed. The truth had broken open. Now the danger would follow. Elise didn't sleep. None of them did. By dawn, her fingers were trembling over the keyboard as she finished stitching together the kind of article that didn't just report truth. It detonated it. Logan watched from the doorway, arms crossed, exhaustion carved deep into his face. Gage rested beside him, chest rising slow, his bandaged side still tender from the night he'd confronted the intruder. But the dog's eyes were awake,
You were down
seeking,
here
guarding.
all this time?
Elise hit publish at 6:14
We're not alone,
a.m.
are we?
The article was live for exactly 4 minutes before the mayor's office sent a takedown request to the hosting platform. It was
Someone wants us
removed
out.
60 seconds later. Elise cursed under her breath and clicked again, opening a mirror link. She posted to another site. And another. Each time the article disappeared, 3 more copies surfaced.
You found it.
By 8 a.m.,
all these
screenshots were everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit threads exploding faster than she could read. A retired miner in Tennessee reposted the piece with the caption,
They would have killed us
"I
all.
knew it. My brother was on that crew. It hit 10,000 shares in 1 hour." By noon,
for the
Elise's
truth, but still
phone
need a
vibrated
voice.
non-stop. Some calls were supportive, some weren't. Logan paced the living room while she
Just the
handled the
wind,
chaos.
right?
His hands stayed fisted. He wasn't afraid for himself. But the moment
Easy,
things
boy.
went public,
What do you
someone
smell?
would come looking for them. Someone
Folks say
already
the owner
had.
never left.
Gage's
Even after
ears
he
twitched,
disappeared.
tracking a car on the gravel road outside. Logan peeked through the window. An old sedan, paint chipped, no plates on the front. He tensed.
Who the hell was that?
But the sedan didn't slow. It kept going. Gage didn't stand down. Elise looked up.
Just here.
That's the 3rd car this morning. Logan nodded. They're watching the property line, just waiting for orders.
Going in this house.
She rubbed her temples. Good. Let them
What
feel
were they
cornered
hiding
for
here?
once. But cornered enemies were unpredictable. The house went quiet again. Then a knock at the porch shattered it. Gage lunged forward, barking
Not
deep
let them
and
cover it
controlled,
again.
not frantic. The kind of bark that meant he could tear through a door if he really needed to.
This wasn't a collapse.
Logan held him
Someone
back
sealed it.
and opened the door a crack. An elderly woman stood
tunnel.
outside,
It's right
hunched,
under us.
clutching a plastic grocery bag. Her voice trembled. "Are you the Hart boy? Miles Hart's son?" Logan froze. She
What
lifted
is
the
it,
bag.
boy? What do you
"My
hear?
husband worked with your father. He kept these hidden. Said someone would need them
I've been
someday."
investigating the South
I didn't
Ridge
believe
collapse
him.
for
I
10
should have.
years.
She placed the bag in Logan's hands and left without waiting for thanks. Gage watched her until
They
she
didn't bury a
disappeared
collapse.
down the
They
hill.
buried the truth.
Inside the bag were letters, journals, payroll slips, a photograph of 8 miners standing arm in arm before
Someone
the
kept that tunnel
collapse,
alive.
all smiling like men who still believed the earth beneath them wouldn't
You
betray
expecting
them.
company?
Elise whispered, This is corroboration." But that was only the beginning. By
Someone wants us out of
mid-afternoon,
this house.
3 more townspeople came. Each brought
tripwire.
something different. A rusted
know we
lunch
are
pail
here.
with initials carved inside, a map of unauthorized dig sites, a cassette tape labeled Confession, 1963. One man arrived shaking
been here
so
before.
hard, Logan thought he might collapse. He handed over a metal tin with no explanation, then drove off without looking back. Inside the tin was a notebook wrapped in wax paper. Elise gasped as she flipped through it. "These are shift logs. They falsified oxygen levels. They knew the mine wasn't stable." Gage nudged her elbow, as if telling her to keep going, keep piecing it together. She stroked his head once,
Gage?
grateful. The truth
Buddy?
wasn't rising. It was flooding. Logan stepped outside to catch his
God, what
breath,
happened to you?
but the weight of what they'd uncovered pressed against him like the winter air.
You saved us
Not
again.
just his father, not just 8 miners, an entire town
damn
holding its
sorry.
secrets under its tongue for 60 years.
We finished
Inside, Elise
Together.
uploaded a second wave of files. She attached pictures of the mine, the box, the ventilation
Once we go
diagrams,
in,
the
there is
names
no
of the
turning
missing
back.
workers. And finally, at the bottom of the article, she chose a photo Logan hadn't known she took. Gage standing in the entry of the tunnel,
This-
dirt on his coat,
proves
one ear
everything.
lifted, eyes sharp,
I didn't help them bury
fearless the way
truth.
only a dog who
I
understood
did it to
purpose
keep my
could
family
be.
alive.
The caption read, "The dog who refused to turn back." Within an hour, the image went viral.
They're trying to bury
Veterans
it again.
shared it. Search and rescue handlers shared it. Families of miners from across the Midwest wrote comments
watching the
thanking
article.
the dog for
They're
doing
watching
what their
us.
governments hadn't. Logan watched the article climb trending lists and felt something shift inside him.
Father tried.
Not
We all should
pride,
have listened.
something quieter, something like belonging.
They've been
But
waiting
justice
60
never
years to
arrives
speak.
alone. Late evening, Elisa's phone buzzed again. She answered, listened, then went pale. "Who was that?" Logan asked. She swallowed.
They're calling
A
everything
friend at the county
fabricated.
paper. The mayor's office just issued an emergency statement denying everything.
Of course they are.
And the mining company's lawyers, they're calling this fabricated evidence.
What is it, buddy?
Logan scoffed. Of course they are. She looked at him.
They're not here
But
to
it's
talk.
too late for them. People have the files. They have the screenshots. They have the truth. Before Logan could answer, Gage lifted his head sharply. A low growl
buddy.
rolled up from his chest. Logan moved beside him, scanning the doorway. Elise stepped back, gripping the table edge.
What the hell?
Then they heard it. A car door closing. Then another. 3.
You were down here?
Logan exhaled slow.
All this
They weren't
time?
coming to talk. He placed a
not
steady
alone,
hand
are
on
we?
Gage's neck. You ready? Gage didn't blink, didn't flinch. Just leaned forward, muscles
Someone wants
taut,
us out.
a silent promise that he would not let anything past him. Not tonight. Not ever. Justice had
sorry.
begun to move, but so had the ones who wanted to bury it again. A year softened the stone
found
mansion
it,
in ways
after all
Logan never
these years.
expected. The walls still creaked in winter. The wind still wrapped itself around the eaves like an old storyteller. But the house no longer felt like a place
They
built
would have
on
killed us
fear.
all.
It breathed differently now. Lighter.
He didn't bark
Honest.
for danger.
Logan
He barked
tightened
for
the
the truth
plaque
that
he had
still needed a
mounted
voice.
beside the door, stepping back to check it. Truth House Archive and Veteran Haven. Entry open to all.
It's just the wind, right?
He still didn't love the title, but Elise had insisted. People needed to know what
Easy,
the
boy.
place stood for.
What do you smell?
The front porch, once a battlefield of
say
shadows
the
and
owner never
whispered
left,
footsteps,
even
had
after he
become a
disappeared.
gathering spot. Kids would sit on the steps, their voices floating across the yard. Retired miners leaned against the railing, sharing stories
Who the
they'd
hell was
buried
that?
longer than the tunnel itself. And through all of it lay Gage. The German shepherd rested on his
Someone was
favorite wooden
just here.
plank just left of the door. His coat had thinned, grayed around the muzzle. One ear
Someone
now
coming and
drooped
going in this
permanently,
house.
a souvenir from the night he intercepted the attacker
What were
who
they
never made
hiding
it
here?
past the fence line. But age hadn't taken the sharpness from his eyes. He watched the road the same way he watched IED alleys in Afghanistan. Patient, alert,
Don't
loyal.
let them cover it again.
Logan stepped down beside him. Tired today? Gage didn't lift his head,
wasn't a
just
collapse.
flicked his
Someone
tail once
sealed
in
it.
acknowledgement. The old dog didn't waste movement anymore.
The tunnel.
Every gesture
It's right
mattered.
under us.
Inside, the old filing room had transformed into an archive lined with labeled shelves. Where there had once been secret ledgers and buried truths,
What is it, boy?
now sat
What do
folders,
you hear?
testimonies, photographs, and names finally allowed to breathe
I've been
again.
investigating the Southridge
Townspeople
collapse
brought
for
something
10
new
years.
every week. A blueprint rolled in wax paper, a pocket watch found in a drawer, a miner's
didn't
helmet
bury
with
a
a cracked
collapse.
beam light.
Buried the truth.
Logan curated them with a careful hand, giving each item a space and a story.
There's
At the back of the
airflow.
property,
Someone
beyond
kept
the
that
tree
tunnel
line,
alive.
stood the memorial. 8 steel pillars rose from the ground,
You
each
expecting
etched with a
company?
name. At the center, a 9th column, shorter, unmarked, held the inscription, "For the truth untold," and the ones who carried it
Someone
alone.
wants us out of this house.
Families visited often.
A
Some
tripwire.
came quietly, leaving flowers
we
or
are
folded letters. Others stayed for hours, tracing the engraved names like they were touching memory itself. Logan stood beside them when needed.
He's been hit
Other
before.
times he stepped back and let the moment belong to them.
Move.
Elise arrived that afternoon with a cardboard box tucked under her arm. "More interviews," she said as she stepped onto the porch. "People keep reaching out. They don't want silence anymore."
I can't
Gage
do this
raised his head,
anymore.
tail brushing the wood. Elise crouched beside him, running her hand along his neck. "Look at you, still guarding the door." He blinked slowly,
Gage?
leaning into a touch.
Buddy?
Inside, Logan set the box on the table. "What is it this time?" "A set of
God, what
diaries
happened
from
to
a
you?"
contractor's wife," Elise said. Her husband
saved us
apparently
again.
wrote down everything he was afraid to say out loud. "This is going to confirm the
sorry.
timeline we were missing." Logan
We
exhaled.
finished this.
There was always
Together.
more. And somehow that didn't surprise him now. They worked in companionable quiet
go
until
in,
footsteps
there is no
climbed the
turning
front
back.
porch. A teenager hovered in the doorway, hat in hand. "Sir?" he asked softly. "My grandfather said he used to work with your dad.
Everything.
He wanted me to bring
I
this."
didn't help them bury the truth.
He held out a folded
I
blueprint
did it to
so
keep my
delicate
family alive.
Logan feared it would tear. A ventilation map, one that matched the missing section from the original records.
They're trying to bury it
"Tell
again.
your grandfather thank you," Logan said. The boy nodded, but didn't leave.
They're not
"My
watching the
grandfather
article.
says,"
They're watching
he
us.
says, "the mine didn't take those men. People did. And he's glad someone finally said it out loud." His eyes flicked to Gage.
We all should have listened.
"And he says your dog. He's the bravest thing he's ever seen."
They've been waiting 60 years
Gage
to
perked up
speak.
slightly, as if he understood the weight of the words. Maybe he did. After the boy left, Logan stepped onto the porch again. The late afternoon sun stretched long shadows
Calling
across the
everything
fields.
fabricated.
The world felt wide, and yet everything important lived in the
course they
stillness
are.
right in front of him. He sat beside Gage, knees bent, hands resting on his
is it, buddy?
thighs. For a moment, neither moved. Then Gage shifted,
They're not
pressing
here
his
to
head
talk.
gently against Logan's leg. "You carried me through the darkest part," Logan whispered. "You knew what was buried long before I did." Gage offered a soft grunt, his version of agreement.
All I had
The breeze lifted the smell of pine from the woods. Somewhere far behind the house lay the sealed entrance of the tunnel. Logan had filled it with reinforced concrete, then set a bronze plate above it. For the 8 who never came home, for the one who lived with it, for the truth that refused to stay quiet. Visitors often paused there before leaving. Some cried, some touched the metal and whispered names. Some simply stood in silence, letting time settle into their bones. As dusk crawled in, Elise stepped onto the porch and joined them. "You think the house feels different now?" Logan nodded. "It's the first time it doesn't feel like it's listening for danger." She glanced toward Gage. He's earned a break. The dog stretched out slowly, settling his weight against Logan's boot. "Yeah," Logan murmured. "He has." A pickup truck pulled into the drive then, tires crunching gravel. A family stepped out carrying a tin box wrapped in twine. The mother looked nervous. The father looked relieved. The child held a photograph of a man in a miner's uniform. They hesitated, then walked toward the porch, toward the dog first, not the man. Gage lifted his head and watched them calmly, tail tapping the floor once. The mother knelt. "May we leave something inside?" she asked. "It belonged to my father. He never told anyone what he saw that night." Logan nodded and opened the door. People came to the house for truth, but they stayed because of something else. Something quieter. Something like healing. As the family stepped in, Gage rose stiffly and followed. He didn't walk quickly anymore, but he walked with purpose. He always had. Legacy wasn't about the documents on the shelves. It lived in every story people were finally willing to share. In every step taken towards the porch. In every breath a town wasn't afraid to draw anymore. And in the gentle weight of a dog settling at the door, refusing even now to stop guarding the place where truth finally had a home. The morning light slanted across the yard as the school bus rumbled away, leaving behind a cluster of middle school students clutching notebooks, cameras, and wide-eyed curiosity. They stood at the edge of the porch, whispering among themselves, glancing at the old stone mansion like it was part museum, part legend. Logan stepped out to greet them. His posture was calmer these days, shoulders no longer carrying the tight coil of vigilance he once lived inside. Time had softened him, but not erased the edges. Some things stayed. Gage nudged the door open behind him. The old German shepherd walked out slowly, each step deliberate. His once black muzzle had turned silver. One ear drooped, the lasting reminder of the night he intercepted the intruder and kept Logan breathing. But his eyes, those sharp amber eyes, were unchanged. They swept the yard, the tree line, the path to the old memorial, watching everything, missing nothing. The students murmured in awe. One girl whispered, "He's the one from the article." Gage sat beside Logan, straight-backed but tired in ways only age can teach. Logan rested a hand on his shoulder. "All right, who's first?" Logan asked. A boy in a flannel jacket stepped forward, gripping a small recorder. His voice trembled slightly. "Sir, we saw the documentary. And the photos. We read all of Ms. Monroe's articles. Everyone says it was your dog who found the tunnel. Why him? Why did he know when no one else ever did?" The porch grew quiet. Logan looked down at Gage. The dog's head tilted slightly, as if recognizing the question and its weight. For a moment, Logan didn't speak. He was back in Fallujah, dust burning his throat, the sound of Gage's bark slicing through the chaos like a lifeline. He was back in the mine, lantern light shaking in his hand, as Gage stood firm over a truth buried longer than either of them had been alive. He crouched beside the old dog, letting the memory settle before he answered. "He didn't bark for danger," Logan said quietly. "He never has. He barked for the truth that still needed a voice." The students fell silent, some glancing at the forest behind the house. Beyond the trees lay the sealed entrance to the mine, a scar covered in concrete and earth. A place where 8 men had been forgotten until a dog refused to let them stay buried. One of the girls lifted her phone to record. Logan didn't mind. If the story reached someone who needed it, that was enough. Another student raised a hand. "So, is he retired now?" Logan smiled faintly. "He's earned it. But he still keeps watch." As if cued by the words, Gage turned his muzzle towards the line of pines at the back of the property. The wind ruffled his fur, lifting it just enough to reveal the old strength beneath the aging frame. He stared into the trees, still guarding the place where the tunnel once breathed its secret. Logan knew exactly what the dog was thinking. The past isn't dangerous anymore, but it is still watching. Logan led the students through the restored archive. They touched the old helmets, maps, and handwritten notes. Some read the names on the memorial plaque. A few cried quietly. For many, this was their first brush with how truth can be buried and how loyalty can unbury it again. When the tour ended, the class gathered on the lawn for one last question.
Sorry.
Their teacher gestured toward the camera. "Anything you want the world to know, Mr. Hart?"
You found it.
Logan
after
looked
all
at
these
Gage.
years.
The dog stretched out slowly, lowering himself to the porch with a soft grunt. Age had taken some speed, but none of his purpose. Logan spoke not to the class, but to whoever would hear the story next. The world doesn't change because people stumble onto the truth. It changes because someone refuses to turn away from it. Sometimes that someone walks on 2 legs, sometimes on 4.
It's just the wind, right?
He rested a hand on Gage's back. "I wouldn't be standing here without him. And a lot of voices would still be buried if he hadn't trusted his instincts more than I trusted
Folks say
mine."
the owner never left.
The students
Even after he
stared with a
disappeared.
reverence beyond their years. Their teacher clicked off the camera. The moment felt still, as if the air itself was holding what had been said. As they
Who the hell
boarded the
was
bus,
that?
several kids bent down to pat Gage gently. He accepted each touch with quiet grace,
Someone was
tail
just
brushing the wood once or twice in acknowledgement. When the bus pulled away, Logan sat on the
Someone coming
porch
and
beside
going in
his
this
old
house.
partner. "You know they came to see the house,
What were
but
they
they stayed
hiding
because
here?"
of you," he said softly. Gage pressed his chin onto Logan's boot, the same way he had on their first quiet night in the mansion. A gesture that told Logan
Don't let them
everything he
cover it
needed
again.
to know. Even now, even old, he wasn't done guarding the truth.
This wasn't a collapse.
The camera crew
Someone
packed up.
sealed it.
Elise waved from her car before heading back to her newsroom.
The tunnel.
The house
It's right
settled
under
into
us.
late afternoon silence. Logan looked out across the yard. The mine was sealed. The story was told. Justice had begun to breathe
What is
again.
it, boy?
And yet,
What do you hear?
something about the way Gage gazed towards the forest made him feel the world
I've been
still had a
investigating the
few
Southridge
buried
collapse
things
for
left.
10 years.
He didn't fear them anymore. He had Gage. The shot closed on the old German
They didn't
shepherd
bury a
staring
collapse.
toward the tree
They
line,
buried the
the
truth.
wind lifting the edges of his fur, his eyes alert and unwavering. A sentinel who had already
There's
changed a
airflow.
town and saved a
Someone kept
man.
that tunnel alive.
A narrator's voice carried over the final frame. He didn't bark for danger.
You expecting
He barked
company?
for the truth.
No.
Then, fading in, the final call. What's your story with a loyal pet? Share it
Someone
below
wants us out of
and
this
support
house.
German Shepherd stories, where loyalty
Tripwire.
always has a voice.